today this very on-brand Cubs season signage. Let's go.
Come on. Salt in the wound. Truth and attributes.
Padres fans have to interfere with that ball.
News of the day from tennis: Serena Williams out of the U.S. Open. Still suffering an injured hamstring. The quest for one more major for the record is on pause again. This U.S. Open is a graveyard this season, by the way. No Serena, no Federer, no Nadal. National panel, is there any part of you thinking Serena's quest to 24 might not make it to 24? Around the horn, Monica McNutt.
Well, at 39 years old, I think you can't help but have the thought. But here's where I am. If it's physical, I'm not concerned about what she can do physically. She takes this time off. I think she can gear up to get one more. More than anything, I'm wondering about the mental piece, the pressure that Serena is putting on herself. I mean, we've got the great movie out about their family, Will Smith, the whole thing. Are we celebrating her legacy before the chapter is closed? I know when my career ended, I was warped when that started to happen.
Sure, and when they did a movie about you, that was really tough. The end of the McNutt career in Georgetown. Who played you, by the way? Frank Isola, we'll bring you in here. Are you beginning to wonder maybe she won't get to 24, and what might that mean?
Yeah, well, you know, she has since the 2018 French Open. She's been to 4 finals. Only Naomi Osaka on the women's side has been to that many finals. So she's been getting there. But to get over that hump, I think it's going to have happen at Wimbledon. You know, the points are quicker. So it's not like you're playing at the French where the points take forever. The hard surface at the Australian, the U.S. Open, which could wear down your body. I think this year, 2021, I think that's when she's going to have to do it. If not, doesn't look like she'll get to Margaret Court.
Well, this year would be next year, right? 2022 is when she would have to do it, right?
Next season. Yeah.
Israel Gutierrez, you beginning to wonder?
I was beginning to wonder even before this, frankly. I was beginning to wonder during some of those finals where she was a little nervy, right? And you just start to wonder, okay, if she doesn't get this one, how much longer are we going to have to go until she gets it? Will her body deteriorate? You know, will she love being a mother more so than being a tennis player and then, you know, maybe not really chase that number 24? Who knows? But with this, it makes me feel like, no, it actually feels like she can actually target that number 24 a little bit more. Her body's starting to fail her a little bit, sort of pull a Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson type of approach and say, I'm going to get that one major regardless of what it takes. Even if it's just me playing in the majors and not really getting into a rhythm with other tournaments, but just focusing on that, I think she can pull that off. I do wonder if it's going to create too much pressure, right? So it doesn't feel like she's just playing tennis and there's other tournaments to be played there, that it's all this pressure on this one tournament. But I do think she really wants it, and I think she should get it.
Sarah Spain.
Yeah, it'd be impossible not to, right? Because this is the longest run of major appearances in her career without getting a title. And to the point that you all have made, mentally, is she in it to keep playing tennis because she still can, or is she in it because she just wants to get that one last title and then she's done? Because in the waning moments of any of those finals she's made, then is she thinking to herself, oh my gosh, if I win right now, I can be done, I can reach this thing everyone's been talking about for years, or is she still playing with a passion and a joy? I mean, I think to Frank's point, the most fascinating part of this is maybe that if she were an up-and-coming player, since the French 2018, she has more match wins, more rounds of 16, more semis, more finals than anyone. Naomi Osaka, the only one to tie, and that's just in the final appearances. So if she were up-and-coming, we'd be like, this is the strongest women's player in the game since 2018. But because it's been so long since she won, we're all thinking instead, is this the way down? I think she's got it in her.
Let me ask you point blank, Sarah, though. Does she need it? She's already unanimously thought of as the greatest of all time. Does she need this?
No, not at all.
Frank?
But she wants it.
I think she wants it because of her daughter, because she hasn't won a major since giving birth. Remember, Kim Clijsters won a major here at the U.S. Open after giving birth. I think that means a lot to Serena. But with her out, Federer out, Nadal out, puts more of a focus now on Djokovic on the men's side and obviously Naomi Osaka on the women's
Monica,
side.
have you thought about who's going to play you in the movie yet?
Oh, yeah, it would be
me?
Yvonne Orji, the actress who plays Molly in Insecure. But to that question, I do
can do that. I like that.
Otherwise, we'll
I
always
see it.
say
Sanaa
she didn't
Lathan.
get it.
Yeah. We'll move on.
Latham.
NFL news of the day in Cincinnati. Bengals paying and saying Joe Burrow will play a limited number of snaps preseason game number 3. It's 9 months since he tore ACL and MCL, injured meniscus and PCL. Looked like the team was maybe not going to play him. Then he maybe politic for himself. Coach Zach Taylor said today Burrow's politicking did not factor into the decision. This is what's best for everybody. Frank Isola, you think it's wise for preseason game number 3 to be Burrow's return from this injury he had?
Yeah, he's been out for a long time. He wants to play, so I respect and appreciate that. I think it's smart for the team to put him out there. Here's going to be the biggest key. Can you keep him upright? He was sacked 32 times last year. The problem isn't Joe Burrow. It's that terrible offensive line. I'd be a little worried about that, but you know the strategy going into this is get rid of the football quickly. He wants game reps. To me, there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's a smart play.
And that's the point. They rebuilt this offensive line some to protect him more from last year because not only was he pressured a lot, but he was very bad, worse in the league when he was pressured. So I think what Joe Burrow needs is more snaps, more reps that maybe don't come in the regular season. Right. If this offensive line is indeed improved, show a little bit of it in the preseason and then feel comfortable going into the regular season.
Completely agree. They went out and acquired veteran right tackle Riley Reif. They drafted 3 offensive linemen. He needs time with them the same way they need time together. And I understand the injury fears. That's how it always is in football. We have this game every year. Do you play him? What if they get hurt in meaningless time?
Yep.
If he's not going to be protected now, he's not going to be protected later. At least get him out there. Also, mentally, he said the biggest concern for him is that when defensive players get too close, he gets a little too nervous because of that injury. Mm-hmm. He needs to just get some of those reps in before the season starts.
So is this unanimous? Monica, you're all right? I mean, preseason game 3, which used to be preseason game 4, is when it's guys who haven't made the team yet who are giving everything they have, and they're trying to go out and kill a quarterback.
I mean, scared money don't make no money, and injuries are definitely a part of football. I mean, if the logic was he's going to get hurt, you shouldn't have played him last year because that line wasn't much better during the regular season. I also will say I don't know that he's going to go against the Dolphins once, and so there's really never a right time to put a guy back coming off of an injury. You got to get in there, get baptized by fire.
All right. 2 other coaching decisions today in naming quarterbacks. Let's start with Denver. Naming Teddy Bridgewater Week 1 starter over Drew Lock. And in Jacksonville, not surprising, but it is official. Trevor Lawrence will start Week 1. Israel, any of those decisions jump out at you?
No, the Trevor Lawrence one, pretty obvious there. I know Gardner Minshew has said he wasn't going to use the restroom, at least not number 2, until he was fighting off this Trevor Lawrence because number 2 is not an option for him. So he can finally take that break he was looking for. I think with Trevor Lawrence, you would have really wanted to see. You would have really wanted to see him get into the end zone in the preseason, but, you know, you still know what you had. It seems like you know what you have there. With Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock, it's crazy interesting because you've got John Elway making another poor quarterback decision in Drew Lock. And I think that was pretty obvious here. Like last year, he was first in the league in air yards per pass, right? So he's flinging it out there, but it's not resulting in much. He's getting intercepted a lot. His QBR is down there. And so it just kind of feels like Drew Lock is another failed experiment for John Elway. And man, that's not a good thing. Joining Paxton Lynch on that.
Sarah Spain.
Yeah, actually, I was going to say the opposite. The Bridgewater's less interesting to me because he didn't turn the ball over once, didn't take a sack, had a 141 QB rating during the preseason. He put himself out there and made it clear who the better quarterback was, whereas Drew Lock, to Izzy's point, I think led the league in interceptions last year, had one of the worst passer ratings, really needed to outdo himself to win that job. So that's less interesting. That was sort of expected. As much as Lawrence starting is expected, I cannot make up my mind whether I agree with the people who say, put him out there, he's the future, you know you're going to start him, just go out there and do what you can, or whether I'm worried he's going to get Joe Burrowed because that offensive line, not to mention him behind it where it looks like things are moving too fast for him so far, this looks really dangerous. And I actually am kind of on the side of people who think send someone out to be the tackling dummy that isn't your franchise future for at least a couple games.
That's a good point, Sarah. But then again, you just told us Joe Burrow should be starting preseason game number 3 in the previous argument.
Totally different.
Monica
totally
McNutt,
different.
where are you on the Lawrence QB1 and also Bridgewater?
Well, I'm not surprised by Lawrence, but I do think there are some real concerns there. I'm more impressed with the Bridgewater thing. I mean, you got to think about the arc of Teddy Bridgewater's career. Prior to that injury with the Minnesota Vikings, this was a guy who we thought was on track to be one of the next great in the league. I don't know if he will truly be able to achieve that in Denver, but you got to love his story. Talk about movies you want to see when it's all said and done.
And Frank Isola.
Well, you know, Tony, John Elway goes through quarterbacks like you go through leather jackets, so I'm not really that concerned about Denver. For me, it's Trevor Lawrence, and I'm going to take you back, Tony, all the way to 1989 when you had a members-only jacket, and it was Jimmy Johnson, college coach, first year, Troy Aikman, number 1 overall pick, first year. I think we could see that replicated in Jacksonville, which means what? A lot of losses. Aikman went 0-11. Things turned out well. I think they're going to take some big-time lumps in Jacksonville.
Israel, last word.
I'm sorry. I just don't think there's any way Urban Meyer, new to the NFL, can come in with the number 1 pick and say, no, we're going to take it easy on him.
Exactly.
Gardner, you're our
That's
guy.
what Jimmy
I think
Johnson
all
did.
the fans
Yeah, you're
were.
right. Although, I think we all agree, when he was running in his last game, you weren't sure if he was running or if he was running for his life.
Running for his life.
Exactly. It's for the New York Yankees. Tight, sweaty baseball with Atlanta last night. Make a call here. Freddie Freeman was called out on the field. They reviewed it, and he was still called out.
Out.
Oh, Frank, yeah,
Out.
of course you say out.
Count
In a
it.
game that came down to Aroldis Chapman not being able to get out of the ninth and a bases-loaded fly out to end it. That's large in that one run, right? Not as large as the Yankees outfield right now. Large adult sons, that's what they're
Yeah.
going. Frank, how much of this streak is the real Yankees? How much of it is smoke and mirrors?
Well, that lineup is big time, and Stanton is killing the ball. Here's the amazing thing. Chapman has been taken out in the 9th inning 2 of the last 3 games. The Yankees won them. Their pitchers, 5 different pitchers, have a save during this winning streak. Chapman isn't one of them. If they're going to win the World Series and go far in the playoffs, I should say, they need their closer to be a lot better than he's been.
Israel Gutierrez.
Yeah, normally if you have 5 different closers over any stretch, you're questioning that. So you want to fix that going in. But look, you talk about that
Normally,
Corey
yes.
Kluber in the AA with rehab starts looking pretty good, right? You've got this patchwork pitching staff that, frankly, has sort of given you options there. You've got some speed on the interior, on third base there with Tyler Wade. Like, you've got some options here. And so if you just kind of roll toward the wild card there and you get the Garrett Cole pitching the 1 game, I think you're pretty confident that you can go into a 7-game
All right, but that's
series
the wild
feeling
card.
really
I mean,
good
the
with what you
Yankees
So I
might
think
have greater expectations than the wild card, Sarah Spain.
It's tough because Giancarlo Stanton reaching base in 21 straight games, their pitching kind of cobbling together. A lot of what's happening to find success now is what we thought was the real Yankees, which I think was your question. But then that would make injuries and guys not stepping up smoke and mirrors. That's also the real Yankees. So to me, it's which part of this team is going to show up. You've got Britton injured. You've got Aroldis Chapman not being able to finish. If that keeps happening, this isn't good.
Exactly. So, Monica, I mean, it's an 11-game winning streak, which you have to celebrate, but the way they're doing it, these are tight games, too.
I mean, I'm a glass half full kind of girl. So to me, if they could get here from where they were when we were wondering whether or not this team would be blown up entirely,
Cell 2, how the Dodgers beat the Padres last night. This catch from A.J. Pollock. This catch from A.J. Pollock. Look at this. If a fan catches that,
Incredible.
it wouldn't be interference because it's in the seats. So the fans there got to blow it. Padres slump continues. Sarah, is this about what the Dodgers are doing right, Padres aren't doing, or what Padres fans didn't do in taking that ball?
I'm never going to advocate for fans in the crowd going after balls. I think we all know why, okay? Let's not get into it. The Padres have lost 10 of their last 12. They've hit 202 over those dozen games. This is about the Padres doing what they do, get us all excited, and then not be able to pull it off down the stretch. It's so disappointing.
Monica?
for me, it's about the Dodgers. Yeah, they won, but can they be everything we think the Dodgers are going to be? They're supposed to be winning these games, and they are.
Okay, Frank Isola?
Everyone loves the Padres. Tatis, who's terrific, the bat flips. And when it all comes down to it, the Dodgers in that part of the country are still number one. Padres are sinking. They're now behind the Reds in the wild card race. A lot of big time
Israel
stuff.
Gutierrez.
I know there's no time in baseball, but that fan's got to know time and score there and really make that leap for that ball. Look, I think it's just
All right,
interesting
Larry
because
Brown.
you want San Diego to make the play. You want to make they want them to make that wild card so they can face the Dodgers in that one-game playoff. So that's what makes them more intriguing. The Dodgers seem to be coasting toward their position.
Jeffrey Meyer did not relocate to San Diego. That's what I
right.
know from that video.
Good reference.
Fire Cell 3, Lynx 76, Storm 70. Sylvia fouls. Monster game. Vintage fouls. 29, 20, 4 steals, 3 blocks. That's a line nobody's ever had before. She hasn't really been in the MVP discussion because maybe Nafisa Collier has for the Lynx. But this was right in the face of Stewart. Sun over the Aces and all that bad blood. Connecticut clinching a playoff spot, and Mystics get their first win with Del Dunn back. Energetic seed in DC with the win over the Sparks. Monica, what was the win of the night?
Oh, this is tricky. I have to give the nod to the Connecticut Sun victory over the Las Vegas Aces. This was for the series sweep of the regular season, and in this game, Jonquel Jones had 8 points and 10 rebounds. Why is that a big deal? Because all season long, she's not scored less, or she's not hit double figures. She didn't even put up her traditional numbers, but this Sun team came through and clinched the #1 spot in the league.
So she's not had double. I follow you. Yes, she's had double figures every
Got
game.
it? Yeah.
Yeah. Double negative proves positive. Sarah Spade, win of the night.
Well, Sylvia Fowles got the individual big win, but my focus is on another former MVP that ditched the Chicago Sky for another team. And that's Elena Delle Donne, who came back 18 points in less than 18 minutes, helped her team finish what was a 4-game losing skid, and they have a shot at the playoffs. The Mystics are a team where you thought Tina Charles was coming to show up and try to get another title. Elena Delle Donne hadn't played since 2019 when they last won it. She comes back. Now are they about to disrupt some teams' playoff chances by sneaking in the
Israel?
Delle Donne's a great story, but I got to go to the top of the standing there and take Connecticut, too. You want to talk about defense. You hold Asia Wilson to 1 of 15, was it, for 4 points? So she hasn't scored less than 13 all season long.
Yes.
That's pretty
She
impressive.
has not scored 13. And Frank Isola, how about you?
Monica can't go 10 seconds without saying DMB, DMB. How do you not mention the Mystics? Delle Donne is back. They won. They could get 8th. They could go on a run. Get yourself out of town. They don't want you back anymore.
Okay, well, I mean, the Sparks didn't get off the bus. They were down like 30 in the fourth quarter, but shout out to Elena Delle Donne. But it's got to be the Sun. Plus, I called that game, so yeah.
Zola, McNutt, you can finish this conversation elsewhere. Spain, Gutierrez, showdown. 2 minutes.